All right, today I'm going to be doing something different. I'm going to be reviewing a music video. And a gentleman sent me an email the other day on a video that they had created, and it's called Warzone Prayer. And I believe they just released it. The artist is called Sovereign Hearts. So if you want to check it out, I'm going to put the link in this video so that you can watch it anytime for yourself as well. But I watched it and man, what a fantastic video. It was pretty good. So I'm going to play it here and then I'm going to share my thoughts afterwards. I was going to do a message this morning, but maybe perhaps I'll do one a little bit later in the day. But I think this is important. So I want to talk about it. So without any further ado, let's jump into the music video.
Caught behind friendly lights. The truth is, don't matter which side. Shrapnel can't choose who dies. War's only winners wear suits and ties. She wants to be a journalist. The truth is, she already is. Photos she took are imperative of atrocities that don't fit the narrative. She posts her pics on Telegram. The truth is, nobody gives a damn. Maddie's from here, but she's lost in the jail. And old Ted's Russian, so he's on land. Evacuate, the truth is there is no way safe. That things are packed, papers in order. Will guards detect sisters accent at the border? They decide to draw their arms. The truth is, these two are just pawns in globalist political deals. The sisters split up, but first they need by herself now, and her closes her eyes again. Christ Jesus, my one true King. The truth is, I have one thing. Lord, protect my family.
All right. Wow. That was pretty powerful. Pretty powerful. One of the most interesting images that I saw in that video was the drones that were patrolling the streets. But I gotta tell you, we live in a different world today. I'm telling you, it's a different world. And there's so much going on all over the place. And there are tons of YouTube channels that you can be watching right now. And most of the Watchmen channels, if you will, I'm not sure where I fit into that grand scheme of things when it comes to Watchman channels. I don't know if I'm a Watchman, if I'm middle of the road Watchman, or if I'm on this side. Some days I don't know. Um, but most Watchman channels are focused on Israel right now. Most are focused on Israel, Hamas. There's lots of trending videos on Damascus, Syria, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just like we in North America are mesmerized with war. We really are. We're addicted to war. And if you want a light, fluffy message, something that tickles your ear, this isn't the channel for you. Because I go against the grain on a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Because I want people to think for themselves at the end of the day. I want them to think. So when Brian shared this link with me, and perhaps it'd be kind of cool if you're watching this video, Brian, maybe I can have you on my channel and we can talk about the thoughts behind your video and your interpretation of it and all this kind of stuff. And what there's some symbolism in there that if you watch it 2-3 times, sometimes you might miss it. There's one instance where this girl picked up a piece of paper and there's nothing on it. So I wasn't sure if that was a photograph, perhaps, of a loved one, a missing loved one, or was there something written on? I'm not sure. But I've watched it 3 times now, and I'll probably watch it a couple more times because there's lots of stuff going on. And this video was created before October 7th, obviously, and it was created around what's going on in Ukraine. And there's lots of, we have to realize, and I think we do, I think we can grasp it, that there are innocent people on both sides of war. In any war, there are innocent people. Like, if you think about World War II, many Germans lost their lives. Many Germans. They were considered bad guys. After the war ended, they were considered good guys. Japan was a bad guy before the war. After the war, Japan was a good guy. China was a good guy before the war. After the war, they're bad guys. Russia was a good guy before the war. After the war, they're bad guys. That's according to our kind of a Western view. We get people to pick sides constantly. And after a while, I think here in North America, we get worn out. We get war fatigued. And I'm just being honest here. I'm being honest. My prediction is by Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, many Americans are going to be wanting the war in Israel to be wrapped up with a nice little bow. Why? Because we got a ton of stuff to do. We got shopping, we got Black Fridays, we got sports events to go to. Christmas is coming. We got to go shopping and buy presents for ourselves because perhaps our family doesn't know what to get us. So we buy presents for ourselves and then put it under the tree. And we don't want wars to last forever. If a war lasts beyond a few months, 6 months or so, we're clicking the channel. We're watching something else that tickles our fancy. And then in between time, what we're going to do is we're going to find YouTube channels that appear to come against war, and we're going to message them and give them basically messages to say, you need to support this war. I don't know what you're talking about, but you need to support the war. And it could be any war. It's like, you need to support it. You need to stop talking against wars, because if you're not for a country, you're against it right away. Because they're bored. They're bored. That's what it is. And we're addicted to war. I'm sorry, but we are addicted to war. If you are watching image after image after image of babies being killed and women being brutalized, you're addicted to war and you need to get checked into AAW, Addictions Anonymous to War. I just made up that acronym. But in North America, we're addicted to war. The idea that you would look up and watch someone else's baby that's been brutally murdered is weird. The idea that you would search out videos and pictures to get a dopamine hit is beyond weird. It's not natural. It's not a natural thing to do, to look at horrible image to make your opinion. You don't have to watch the news. I haven't watched the news in over a month. There are feeds that come up on your YouTube channel, and sometimes you take a glimpse at for like a minute or two, and you're like, yeah, it's kind of the same song on every network. Same song. And there seems to be a narrative in the media to really be pushing hard against Israel. I see it. But there's also another narrative that says if you don't support Israel, and nobody can define what that means, support. If you don't support Israel, you're against them. You're supporting Hamas. And these people are crazy, man. They're crazy for saying that. I support the King, Jesus Christ. That's who I support. That's where my loyalty lies. If you do not support King Jesus, then I got to ask you where your loyalty lies. Maybe it lies with another king, another prince, the prince of this world. You're so attached to everything here that anytime someone mentions something like the idea of one day the Lord is coming back for his body, they get all angry inside. They're like, no, you can't leave. And then they start making fun of channels with people talking about the pre-tribulation rapture, not realizing what they're actually doing is they're trying to tear people down to believe what they believe, which is war is okay, basically, at the end of the day. That it's okay to go through war and just be numb about it and be glued to watching all the networks, be glued to it because we don't spend time right here. And if you tell this to enough people, they get mad. They're like, no, you need to watch YouTube. You need to watch the news on YouTube, I should say. I don't mind you watching YouTube, especially if it's channels that edify you. But if you're doing it at the expense of reading this, then you should turn off YouTube. You should turn off the news. You should turn off your phone. And I made a video a few days ago that if you were to spend 7.5 minutes, you'll get through the Bible in 1 year, 7.5 minutes. And I asked the question, do you have 7.5 minutes in your day to get through the Bible? Now, me personally, I think that's too slow. 1 year. I like the idea of reading my Bible between 2 and 4 months, sometimes 1 month. The reason why it takes me longer than a month to do is because I'm making YouTube videos as well. Plus, I have a full-time job. Plus, I have a grandchild. Plus, I have family, friends, Bible studies, church, all this kind of stuff going on as well. Busy, 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 busy. But this is my priority. This is the first thing. This is what fills me up during the week. It's not CNN. It's not Fox. It's not Ben Shapiro. Jordan Peterson. I love Jordan Peterson, by the way. Good Alberta boy. I actually went to see Jordan Peterson. When was it? A couple years ago? Man, the guy talked for like 3 hours straight. And it was brilliant. If you had told me that there are people that pay to watch people speak for 3 hours, I would have said, you're crazy. You're crazy. Nobody can do that. Jordan Peterson can do it. And Ben Shapiro actually came to our city, Calgary, and I missed it. He arrived Saturday night or something. That would have been cool to see. That would have been fun to see. But there is a narrative that says that the whole world right now is against Israel and all this stuff. And what's funny is not funny, ha ha. But what's interesting is for weeks, for weeks leading up to October 7th, all the Watchman channels were saying is that hundreds of thousands of rockets were being pointed at Israel. They were being surrounded by rockets. Just go back, watch any of your favorite YouTube channels, favorite Watchman YouTube channels before October 7th. And really within the last week or two leading up to that, they're saying in all the Israel news outlets that they're being surrounded by rockets. And it's inevitable that they're going to be attacked by rockets. I'm not making this up. I have a memory. This has only been a month or so. So I remember leading up to it. I made a video around late September saying a war is coming. Don't know where, but there's a war coming and it's imminent. And people are like, there's no war. There's no nukes, even though there was a war going on with Ukraine and Russia. And then it happened on October 7th. Israel declared war against Hamas. And I guess they were surprised, even though all the Israel news outlets were saying imminent, 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 and they're surprised. So that's kind of interesting. What's interesting right now is with Zelensky, I don't think he's getting the media coverage that he was getting before, because if you thought the attention was on Ukraine, now it's on Israel. The whole world is watching what's going on in Israel. Every day you see posts of Israel at war, Israel versus Palestine, Israel versus Hamas, Israel versus Syria, Damascus should be wiped out, all this kind of stuff. Like this is what the conversations are. I don't hear anything about Russia and Ukraine. I hear zero. And I think that's driving Zelensky a little bit crazy, because he was in Canada before this war started. He asked us for $650 million. And then he left after we gave a standing ovation to a Nazi war criminal. He left. And then a few days later, a week later, I think it was, something like that, boom, 5,000 rockets get launched against Israel. And if it wasn't for their Iron Dome, who knows what would have happened. So I am kind of surprised that the fourth most powerful nation in the world with nukes, basically this was considered like a surprise attack. People are equating it to Pearl Harbor. I don't equate that to Pearl Harbor, because the U.S. was attacked. Their military base was being attacked, and they were pretty much asleep, because that was a massive invasion with all the planes they had. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure over the past year or 2 or 3 or 4 years, there's been hundreds, if not thousands, of rockets being fired at Israel. Let's be loose. Let's say over the last 10 years. So the thought that 5,000 rockets happen in one day is a surprise to me. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird that it's a surprise. I think most people were expecting something to happen in Israel because they seemed like they were walking on eggshells. They weren't at peace. If you have peace over here, you have tensions in Israel here. Don't forget, a few months ago, they wanted to kick a lot of the Christians out of Israel. And then Netanyahu was in the process of talking about certain things in Israel that was going to happen. I don't know if maybe people were frustrated in Israel or whatever, but then we have a war and nobody talks about politics anymore. Instead, we talk about which side are you on. And I don't agree with protesting. I don't agree with doing the parades for really anything. Really, like I honestly don't think that helps. Marching for or against. Same thing with Black Lives Matter. I don't think it helps to march. I think all lives matter. As a human being, all lives matter, and I'm going to stick to that. Are there evil people in the world? 100% there are. There are crazy people in the world. There are crazy governments in the world that have agendas. A lot of money exchanging hands. And if we don't think so, we're kidding ourselves. Kidding ourselves. That a lot of governments do not have our best interest. We vote for them, and then all of a sudden they do something else, and we're surprised because we voted them in. We get surprised and shell-shocked at the things that they say, the things that they do. Like, I am shocked for the past 10 years with what our prime minister does. His blackface parties, his beheading parties, stuff that he says, comes against Canadians. It's hard to watch sometimes. It's frustrating. Same thing in American politics. All kinds of stuff that's frustrating, I think, for the U.S. citizens to watch. Ukraine can't be happy right now with what's going on. They're like one of the largest exporters of wheat in the world. Russia, one of the largest exports of oil to Europe. So there's all kinds of pieces moving around, chess pieces. And we as people are basically, we're playing checkers. We're playing a different game. They're playing chess. They're planning this stuff out into the future. And we're kind of just rolling along. And we're falling into some of these traps, some of these media traps, where they just get us to watch all these images. And really talks about that. This is one of the reasons that Israel fell, is they were no longer able to blush. They couldn't blush anymore. Why? They were worshiping other gods. They were sacrificing their babies. They were killing each other. They were lying. They were prophesying lies of peace when there wasn't peace. They were giving softball messages right across the plate. And people were just like, tell me more. Give me more pillow messages. Give me more handkerchief messages. Just, I would like you to sew me a nice, comfortable suit where there's pillows all over me so that I don't have to hurt my arms or anything, and protect my head. And just give me nice, soft messages, whether that's from the pulpit, whether that's from the media, wherever it is, just give me soft messages that tickle my ear. Because if I don't like your message, I'm going to unsubscribe. This is how fickle we are. If there's a message we don't like to hear that is truth, we unsubscribe. We're like, yeah, I don't like that. I want to go watch some more war videos. It's like, are you crazy? Are you mad? Are you insane? Like, really? Honestly, are you insane? You almost have to be a little bit crazy. I understand if you watch a news item that breaks out and it's like, oh, look at this. There's a volcano in Mount St. Helens or something about to explode. And I get it. And your attention is fixed on that. Or something happened, an earthquake or something happened somewhere else or a tsunami, and you watch it. And I get it. Everybody's like, oh, what's that? I didn't know that was happening. That's fair. But to watch it, to see human beings being hurt, and to actually search babies being hurt, babies hurt in war, searching all these things, women hurt in war. It's weird. You're addicted to something and you just don't realize it. And then it's going to be very difficult for you to read the Bible afterwards. Like, man, I just don't understand why I'm not in the Word. When I read the Word, it's blurry. It doesn't make any sense, and I get tired. I get sleepy when I read the Word. So instead, I read the Bible at night so that I can get a good night's sleep. And because I don't understand what's going on in Ezekiel, in Isaiah, in Lamentations, and Daniel, I'm going to stick to the Psalms and I'm going to read 2 or 3 good verses that make me feel good. The Lord is my shepherd. He will be with me as I walk through the valley of death. And like we quote stuff like this. But yet we'll spend more time watching images on TV of gore and horror. And then we wonder why we can't get through the Bible. I guess that's my biggest beef is I'll get people that'll tell me sometimes, I'll be like, hey, you're going through the Bible too fast. Slow down. Read one verse a day. Just one verse a day. That'll get you through the week. Dude, you have no idea what you're saying. You have no idea what you're talking about. Because once you've read through the Bible in its entirety and you do it again and again and again, it's actually renewing your mind. It's removing the blinders on your eyes. It's not, you're not being a cynic. And this is, some people come against people that like to think, that like to use their brain. They say, you're just a cynic. You're a conspiracy theorist. You think everything is a conspiracy. You think we're living in the Matrix. There are some good arguments to that, by the way. But it's not everything is a conspiracy. Not every weather pattern is man-made. But there are principalities, powers, rulers of the air, the media, another word for medium, that are trying to persuade us. If you don't think there's anything spiritual going on, if you don't think there's a spiritual war going on, you're probably right in the middle of that war. You just can't see it. You can't see it. It's all around us. It's all around us. And it has nothing to do with the people. There's powers, principalities, rulers of the air that are up to no good. And they want to hurt us. They want to harm us. And because of that, we end up saying stupid things every once in a while. Like the day of the Lord is going to be Jesus Christ touching down on the Mount of Olives with a bouquet of flowers to hand it out to everyone and preach peace. It's not going to be a peaceful day. Why do you think people are crying out and mourning and saying, hide us, hide us from the wrath of the Lamb? What do you think that means? It's not going to be a pretty day. That's a day when people are going to be pancaked by 75-pound hailstones from heaven. And they're going to raise their fist in the air, not at Israel. They're going to raise their fist at Jesus Christ. Don't get that mixed up. The people in that day are going to be coming against Israel. If you're doing that, if you're thinking that way, that's what that is, then you are going to be in for a world of hurt. That day is a reckoning. Jesus is going to bring his reward. What is his reward? Revenge on all the people that were killed because of their faith in Jesus Christ, and all those that came against God the Father and God the Son, stole land, gave up land, sold people, bought people. There's going to be a day of reckoning, and Jesus Christ is going to destroy the Antichrist and the false prophet in Armageddon after the 7-year tribulation. It's going to destroy them with extreme prejudice, and they're getting tossed into the lake of fire. And they'll be there for 1,000 years because Christ will be reigning on the earth in Jerusalem. That's where he's going to set up his kingdom for 1,000 years. And after the Millennium Kingdom, there's one more little tiny war. That's the war of Gog of Magog. Devil's going to be loosed from the pit, the bottomless pit, and he's going to be upset because he knows his time is short, extremely short. Goes out to the uttermost parts of the earth, could be North America for all we know, because we don't like to get involved in things. We're basically like a careless Gentile nation, if you will. We don't necessarily care about anyone else. So after the Millennium Kingdom, the devil goes around and convinces Gog of Magog to come against Jerusalem, who has been at peace for 1,000 years. There's no walls, there's no gates, there's no bars. There's one king, one shepherd, one nation. That's Israel. Not two. All 12 tribes will be living there in Israel. One king. Who's that king? Jesus Christ. They will be at peace for 1,000 years. Israel is not at peace today. I'm sorry, but they're not at peace. So this is not the Ezekiel war that's going on right now. I've talked about that in other videos. But then the devil gets tossed into the lake of fire after he loses the battle of Gog and Magog. In fact, all the nations that come against Jerusalem, fire rains down from heaven and destroys them. It's over. And then there's 7 years of weapons burning. And after that, there's 7 months of cleanup, cleaning up all the bodies and burying them for 7 months. And after that, there's going to be people paying tribute to Jesus Christ in Jerusalem so that they don't get rain, or so that they get rain in their land. And they're going to be passing through to get to Jerusalem. And they're going to see dead bodies every once in a while. And they're going to put flags out saying you missed one. And Israel's going to hire buriers, professional buriers, to go and bury these people. Lots of stuff going on, right? So hopefully you got something out of this video. You know, we talked a lot about what's going on here, and hopefully, if anything that you get out of this is you got to spend more time in here than you do on here. And if you spend more time here, then you're free to watch the news every once in a while, because now you can see clearly. And I hope you got something out of that music video, and I hope to have Brian on my channel again. Perhaps if he's watching this video, maybe he can jump on here with me and then talk a little bit about his video, the inspiration behind it, the thought process behind it, all this kind of stuff. That might be kind of interesting. So anyways, hope you got something out of this. And as usual, don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to share this video. Feel free to talk about it. Let me know where you're watching this video from. And I will see you in another video. Bye for now.